Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're tackling a feeling that is just so universally exhausting, yet we barely ever talk about it. I want you to think about the last time a massive cultural moment happened. You know, a blockbuster movie premiere, a viral documentary, or one of those crazy internet sagas. Remember that overwhelming, creeping feeling that if you didn't consume it immediately, you were somehow failing? Well, today we're looking at the architecture of cultural belonging. We're going to break down exactly why we feel so pressured to join conversations we never consciously chose to be a part of. And more importantly, we're going to talk about how to reclaim our attention. Okay, let's dive into this, and I want to start by taking us all the way back to the schoolyard. Just imagine you're walking into the cafeteria, a massive new movie dropped over the weekend, you sit down at the lunch table, and everyone, and I mean literally everyone, is talking about it. They're sharing inside jokes, they're laughing at references you absolutely cannot understand, and they're exchanging opinions with the sheer confidence of people who just shared this profoundly important collective experience. And there you sit. You didn't watch it. You are entirely on the outside looking in. But what strikes us in these moments isn't actually the disappointment of missing 2 hours of cinema, it's the feeling that comes with it. The author of our source material perfectly describes this as a faint but distinct sense that they owe to someone an explanation. Notice how your absence from that lunch table conversation suddenly felt like it required a justification? Nobody explicitly stood up and told you that participation was mandatory, right? Nobody handed you a rule book. But the expectation? It was already hanging heavy in the air. Which brings us to our first major concept, Section 1, the unspoken expectation, where you basically have to choose side A or side B. What starts as this seemingly innocent dynamic at the middle school lunch table becomes a persistent underlying rule of modern adult life. You're expected to keep up, or you just accept getting left behind. This quiet message spreads everywhere, from cinema and entertainment to social media platforms and fleeting internet trends. It infects how we engage with political debates, forcing complex, nuanced issues into this binary team sport where you absolutely must pick a side immediately. It's even in consumer culture. I mean, the brand of water bottle you carry is treated as a deep identity statement. Across all of these, we're constantly presented with this manufactured illusion of choice. Because the option to simply say, you know what, I'm opting out of this entirely is almost never on the menu. So where does this overwhelming pressure actually come from? Let's move into Section 2, manufacturing cultural urgency and the industry of attention. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the precise machinery they use to build demand, long before we ever set foot inside a movie theater. This urgency to watch the thing, or buy the thing, or know the thing, it's not an accident of human nature. It's a carefully engineered product of a multi-billion-dollar attention economy. Think about the life cycle of a modern blockbuster. Step 1, you get waves of trailers strategically dropped months in advance to build a baseline of anticipation. Then comes Step 2, this perfectly coordinated barrage of timed reviews and celebrity interviews flooding your newsfeed right when that anticipation peaks. And finally, Step 3, the amplification of controversies or debates surrounding the film just to ensure it trends on literally every single social platform. They are meticulously cultivating your attention. The ultimate goal of all this marketing machinery is perfectly captured right here. The objective is not merely to create a piece of media worth watching. The goal is to build an environment where awareness becomes expectation and expectation becomes participation. They want to actively make the act of not watching feel highly unusual, almost antisocial. It is a brilliant and honestly highly effective strategy to create demand for our absolute most precious modern resource, our attention. Now, I want to be really clear here, because we must separate the beautiful art from the product. This isn't some cynical attack on movies. The art itself is extraordinary. It inspires us, it comforts us, it challenges our worldviews, and it connects people across massive cultural divides. But the product? The product is the machine that engineers the marketing and creates manufactured demand. We can absolutely love the art of cinema while simultaneously protecting ourselves from the unconscious consumption driven by the product. Collapsing the difference between the two does a massive disservice to both the filmmaker and the audience. Let's dig a little deeper into the psychology beneath all this pressure in Section 3, the architecture of belonging, being inside or outside the circle. When you feel that intense stress to go see the movie everyone is talking about, the film itself is just the vehicle. The actual destination is the conversation. It's what evolutionary biologists refer to as the circle. See, for the vast majority of human history, we were tribal creatures living in shared social spaces. Inclusion in the group meant you had access to food, warmth, and protection. It literally meant survival. Exclusion from the group, standing outside the circle, carried incredibly dangerous, often fatal consequences. So that anxiety of missing out, it's actually not irrational at all. It's a deeply ingrained biological fear of being left outside in the cold while everyone else is safe inside the circle. And this brings us to a really profound realization. Obviously, the stakes are not the same today. Missing the latest superhero movie is for sure not going to get you eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. But, and this is the absolutely crucial point, the feeling is identical. There is a massive mismatch between our ancient survival circuits and our modern triggers. A simple trending topic on social media incorrectly activates our deepest evolutionary alarms, basically tricking our nervous system into believing our social survival is at risk. Let's move to and see how this builds over time, because it'd be nice to think we outgrow this, right? But watch how this pressure evolves throughout our lives. During our school years, the currency of belonging is teen movies and lunch table trends. As we move into adulthood, it shifts to consumer culture, making those right identity statements with the brands we buy. And in our professional or intellectual circles, the expectation just becomes a bit more sophisticated. It becomes about having elaborate opinions on prestigious books or critically acclaimed documentaries. The currency changes, but the underlying transaction remains exactly the same. Know about this or risk being seen as someone who doesn't belong. So how do we actually escape this cycle? Welcome to Section 4, the third option, and reclaiming our conscious choice. You see, you don't have to be permanently trapped in that exhausting binary of join in or be left out in the cold. There is a third option, and it gives you your agency back. It allows you to participate in culture completely on your own terms. It lets you move at your own pace instead of the pace dictated by some marketing department's opening weekend targets. It allows you to follow your genuine, authentic curiosity. And honestly, it gives you permission to direct your attention somewhere else entirely. You can absolutely watch the movie, or you can completely skip it. The key is simply that the choice is driven by your own genuine interest rather than unexamined, manufactured social pressure. And to access this third option, we need to utilize the most powerful, yet rarely offered tool we have in the modern world, the conscious pause. Just slowing down. Before you buy the ticket, before you click that trending hashtag, just taking a breath to examine the magnetic pull of the circle before you instinctively react to it. When you keep that pause, I want you to ask yourself this quietly radical question. Is this mine, or did someone else put it here? In an age that has completely perfected the mass manufacture of desire for content, for opinions, for that exhausting feeling of always keeping up, this one simple question is your ultimate defense. It just strips away all the noise. Which leaves us with this final, incredibly important question. Why am I watching this? The next time a massive cultural event completely dominates your feed and your friend group, challenge yourself. Are you participating because a story genuinely calls to you? Or are you just feeling the subtle, ancient pressure to remain inside a circle you never even consciously decided to join? Examine the pull, because in that honest examination, you finally reclaim the freedom to choose where your attention truly belongs. Think about that the next time you feel the fear of missing out. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.